Welcome to Authentic Beyond the Couch, the podcast where healing goes beyond the therapeutic room. I'm your host, Jirzia Blackmon, and together we will explore real, raw conversations about life, growth, and embracing your most authentic self. This is your space for courage, connection, and healing beyond the couch. Let's dive in. So today, I just want to talk about my healing journey and what I went through to get to where I am today. As I said, I am a EMDR therapist, but I didn't get into the trauma therapy solely for my clients and to help them find healing. I actually went into trauma therapy to help myself find healing. I went through a pretty low moment in my life. Not only one, there were several that we can navigate through. But the first thing I want to share with you is when you are going through the healing process, the one thing we need to do is actually feel. And I feel like for my clients, this is probably the hardest step. We don't want to feel. We want to skip this part. We want to just get to the healed part. But there's so much in the feeling part that we have to go through so that we can get to the other side. I always say I wish I had a magic wand to just wave it and make all the problems go away. But what would we even learn or gain out of this process, right? And not every wound or every thing that we go through feels good. Many of them don't feel well. It doesn't feel good for us. But, and I'm not saying that the outcome is always good, but it's so important that we stop and we feel. For me, the song that really got me through my journey was by Hillary Scott, which is Thy Will. And I want to walk through this song with you today because I feel like that really helped me through this process. Like I remember, and my kids can testify to this, I feel like that song was on repeat on the radio, and I would also just play it on my own. But that song got me through this season, along with amongst other things. But I want to play parts of this song for you. I want to read actually parts of this song for you because I feel like it can resonate with several people who are going through. So it starts by saying, "I'm so confused. I know I heard you loud and clear. So I followed through. Somehow I ended up here." And I know for some of you, I know for me, it's like you're in a situation in life and like, you heard from God, or this relationship was meant to be, or you were meant to have this child, or that, this is God's gift for you, but then you're in it and it doesn't feel so good. And I don't want to misquote Hillary Scott, but I believe I heard at that season in her life, she wrote this song because she had experienced a miscarriage. And it was like she knew she heard from God. She knew that this baby was meant to be. But look at where she is now. She's experiencing a miscarriage. And for me, it was pretty similar. It was, having to leave my church home due to situations that, I'm not here to knock anybody because I don't feel like that's helpful for anyone. But due to situations where humans were being humans, right? And however, with human behavior, sometimes some people are hurt. And the reason why I want to have these dialogues is because while I was going through my journey, I never wavered on my relationship with God. I understood that humans were being humans. However, that's not the case for everyone. A lot of people, a lot of us experience hurt, church hurt, or just hurt in general, and we turn away from God. We ask, why would God allow this to happen? And that I completely understand. That wasn't my battle, but I was just angry with God that He would allow it to continue, if that makes sense. Like, it wasn't that He allowed it to happen because I could see, well, humans are humans. People are going to make their choices, and it's not God's fault that someone made their own choice. But I did feel like, well, God, why is it continuing? Why is it continuing for so long? And then so many people are being hurt, right? So I was confused, and I know that my journey was to be where I was as far as that church. I love my church, right? And And so here it is. She's like, I'm so confused. I know I heard you loud and clear. So I followed through and somehow I ended up here. I don't want to think. I may never understand. This part is where I would cry, that my broken heart is a part of your plan. And I know colleagues of mine, they talk about this where it's like, I don't want to believe that my brokenness is part of God's plan. And I don't believe that that's it. I don't believe that our brokenness is part of God's plan. I believe that God takes our brokenness and he makes it a part of the plan. So I don't feel like God is orchestrating brokenness for us, but people are people. We have biological predispositions. We have psychological, social, our environment, things that we don't have control over. And so those things happen to us or happen around us or happen inside of us. For example, diabetes. It's not that God is making diabetes, for us, but some of that is our choices of what we eat, right? And that's why that's affecting us. Situations that we go through, it's not that God put these people in our lives, but it could be that people are just evil. People are evil, and evil exists even in the garden. God didn't take away evil. Evil was present even in the garden. And so I don't believe that he orchestrates it to happen to us, but he takes that and brings beauty from the ashes, right? He takes that and he makes a plan. That's where it's, that saying where it says like he takes that and then makes beauty out of our lives. I believe that that's what that means for me, is where my broken heart is a part of your plan. He takes that and then makes it the ending. For I know the plans I have for you, saith the Lord, in Jeremiah 29:11. And so then she goes into saying, well, thy will be done. And I talk to my clients about this, that the Garden of Gethsemane, right? Where Jesus was in the garden and he was crying. And if you looked at episode 1, we mentioned this. He was crying and so full of anxiety to where he was sweating blood. And then he said, thy will be done. And so it's sort of like, I don't agree, right? I don't agree with this season. I don't agree with this feeling. I wish I could skip it. I wish I can get out of it. But even in it, I'm going to say, well, your will be done for my life, God. The second verse says, I know you're good, but this don't feel good right now. And some of us need to be that real with God. Like, I know you're good, but this doesn't feel good. And I feel like we have this misunderstanding that we should just not feel the feelings or feel the emotion, or we can't tell God that this doesn't feel good. Like I hear people say like a spiritual bypass. Like Christians have this spiritual bypass where we feel like we need to skip the fact that this sucks, right? And we need to just get to thy will be done, or it is well with my soul. And sometimes we just need to sit with God and say, this is not well with my soul. I am not okay with this. I am not okay. And that's okay, right? I'm not okay. I don't feel good. I'm not, I'm feeling depressed. I'm having suicidal thoughts. I'm having anxious feelings. I'm having depressive moods. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to take a shower. I've thought several times of hurting myself. I actually tried to hurt myself. And we just have to bring all of that authentically and real to God. Just like you do for some of us who do go to therapy, you bring that to your therapist. It's like, in order for your therapist to help you, you have to be able to tell them the truth of what's going on. So I do encourage you to do that. So I know you're good, but this don't feel good right now. I know you think of things I could never think about. It's hard to count it all joy. We have that scripture that says count it all joy. For hard to count it all joy sometimes. It's hard to say that, all things work together for good for them who love to. No, this doesn't feel like it's working together for my good. I could skip this lesson, Lord. So I know you think of things I can never think about. It's hard to count it all joy. I'm distracted by the noise, just trying to make sense of all your promises. Sometimes I have to stop and remember that you are God and I am not. So I am hoping that this was, as helpful as this song was for me during my season, I'm hoping that it was also helpful for you, where to the extent where just giving you permission to sit in the feeling. In order to get to healing, we have to learn to sit in the feeling. I'll say that again. In order to get to healing, we have to learn to sit in the feeling. Sit in that uncomfortable emotion. Sit in it long enough and just allow yourself to feel it, right? Name it. God, this does not feel good.
this is a low place, this depression, this anxiety, this stress, this child, this husband, this wife, this relationship, this job, whatever it is, people are hurting in this world. We are experiencing so much pain, so much hurt. I mean, if we can just go from political to just general life, it's just hard to just be here. So many children committed suicide, like just individuals committing suicide. It's just people are hurting. And if we can just allow ourselves to just sit in that feeling and know that it doesn't feel good, but there is hope as we just give ourselves the moment to sit and feel. That's the first step. Just feel it. Just name it. And for those opportunity to say, well, can I take this to a therapist? Can I take this and talk to someone about this? You may not feel like someone cares, but I promise you, someone cares. Someone cares about what you are experiencing. Someone cares about you. And I know it doesn't feel, you may feel like a burden. You may feel like you're being overwhelmed. Someone's being overwhelmed, or, you may feel like you don't have the resources or you don't know where to go. There's help. And I hope for whomever is listening, your first step to healing is just allowing yourself to feel. Give yourself permission to feel it. It doesn't have to feel good. I'm not saying we don't want to spiritually bypass. We don't have to get to it as well with my soul. Just a feeling. We live in a world where it glorifies getting over something, or, just being good, or just moving on, or, just getting past it, or snapping back real fast. But, healing is not like that. And there's a saying that says healing is not linear. And I've said this before. Healing is hard. Healing takes time. Healing is messy. Healing can be sacred. Healing can be holy. Healing can be scary. Healing takes some time. And so I want you to give yourself permission to go slow with your healing. It may not look like everyone else's. For me, I cried a lot. I was sad for a long period of time. I prayed. I was angry with God. I was angry with people. I doubted at times. There were times where I just felt like a fog, it felt like my life was like in a fog. But I did go to therapy in that season. And I believe that was the first time I went to therapy, and really was seeking answers. I went to a group. I was in a group. I started doing group work, and it was a trauma-informed group. And that was so healing for me to hear that other people were feeling the same thing that I was feeling, or the same things, and hear other people's story. And that's really where I believe that group work works. I know people, and I'm an introvert. I say that all the time, or omnivert. I really love my alone time. I don't like sharing and talking. However, I really wanted my healing. I really wanted to get out of the pain. And so I remember participating in this group and just being amongst people who experienced hurt and experienced trauma, and feeling like I was held. So along with this song, just listening to it over and over, and allowing myself to be in that space, allowing myself to be slow in my healing, really helped me. I want to encourage you, don't run from your feelings. Don't numb your feelings. Don't drink your feelings away. Don't smoke your feelings away. Allow yourself to feel the feelings. Allow the tears to come from your eyes. Give yourself, whether you're male or female, allow yourself to feel and to give yourself permission. That's cleansing your body, cleansing your nervous system, so that you can move forward. Don't rush this process. It's actually meant to help you. The more you allow yourself to feel it, it's actually you shortening the healing process. Crying research shows that tears and crying is actually a relief for us. It's a stress relief. It releases several hormones in our bodies, like cortisol and a pain-killing hormone, endorphins in our body. It also helps with emotional regulation and mood regulation when we cry. Research actually shows this. So it's so important that you allow yourself to cry. Men cry, real boys cry, real women cry. We don't have to be hardcore. We don't have to hold these things in. We're actually killing and hurting and harming ourselves as we hold these emotions in rather than letting them go. So emotions are good. Crying is good. It releases healthy hormones in our body that we need to have purge and to help us to feel better. So crying makes you feel better. Take that. Maybe for you, it's not a song. Maybe it's a journal. So maybe you can find that solitude and that slowness in writing. Some of you, maybe that might be helpful for you. Maybe it's taking a walk. It's going out in nature and just walking and just allowing your mind to think and feel. Some of us, it may be just sitting down and drinking a cup of coffee. Maybe sitting down outside on your porch or on your kitchen table and just sit and enjoy a cup of coffee and literally allow yourself to, what am I feeling? What do I taste? What do I see? What do I smell? What do I hear? And just let the feelings and emotions come up for you. Let the coffee hold the space. Let the song hold the space for you. And some of you, it might be talking to a friend or a loved one or a therapist. For me, it was therapy, it was group work, it was my friends, it was my family, my husband, my mom. I really had a lot of people trying to help me through this journey. I was not shy about talking about what I was feeling. Give yourself permission to go slow. Give yourself permission to not feel the need that your healing should look like someone else's. So I hope this was helpful for you, and maybe it's for somebody else. So I want to thank you for spending a few minutes with me today. And if this resonates with you, I want you to share it with someone else, and maybe it may help them through their own valley or their own low moments. And remember, you are not alone. Healing takes time. Your story is worth telling, and healing takes courage.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Authentic Beyond the Couch. I hope today's conversation brought you insight, comfort, and simply reminded you that you are not alone on this journey. If you found this episode meaningful, please follow the podcast, leave a review, and share it with someone who may need to hear it. You can connect with me on Instagram at authenticbeyond_the_couch for more resources and authentic conversations. Until next time, keep showing up as your most truthful self, and remember, healing can continue even beyond the couch.